Here's how much money you need to retire at 55. I came across this article a couple months back from Travel and Leisure. I'm not sure how I came across it, but ooh, look at these evil mofos. Yeah, evil. How to approach your retirement savings so you can get off the 9 to 5 grind and spend more time traveling. So I've been sitting on my thing here, my toolbar up here for a couple months, so I wanted to do this. Most people work 90,000 hours in their lifetime. 90,000 hours. So an average work a year is 2,080 hours. So 90,000 hours would be a 43-year retirement or a career, which is 1/3 of the average lifespan. Crazy. According to a study from Gettysburg College. Want to shave a few years off that number so you can spend your 9 to 5 years short, so you can cut your 9 to 5 time short. You could retire early so you can spend more time traveling, because remember, traveling is travel and leisure. All right, yes, I do. I want to do that, whoever this person is. Specifically, how to retire at age 55. Well, we talked to a financial expert, Denitha Doe. I looked her up. She seems like a fine lady. She worked for Barbara Lee originally, and initially I was hard on Barbara Lee. But if you remember, Barbara Lee was a sole vote against the war in Afghanistan, and she was nuts in a way, but it turns out maybe not so bad. Maybe she has some insight that you and I did not have. And so to Barbara Lee's credit, I salute you. You had the insight to say, let's not go to war. And of course, I was saying, no, we got to get them over there before they get us over here. Should have listened to Barbara Lee. And if you would have told me that 20 years ago, I'd say, I like Cynthia McKinney, and I respect that Barbara Lee voted against the war. I would have thought you'd done went crazy. And it turns out I'm the one who's gone crazy. Me, your old buddy Josh, crazy. But there you go. As a proverb goes, says Denitha Doe, a financial wellness educator. I don't know what that means, but whatever. The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The best time today is today, 100%. It's never too early to start to save for retirement, especially if you want to retire early. Don't despair if you didn't start saving in your younger years. It's never too late to start. However, the longer you wait, the more strategic you'll have to be. To figure out how just much money you need to save to retire by 55, she just suggests using a common rule of thumb. How dare they say rule of thumb? Do they not remember what rule? Don't I have my yes, rule of thumb, man. Oh, I'm not going to do it. Wasn't rule of thumb or look up what rule of thumb was in terms of, I can't believe she's saying this. It's something to do with men and their wives back in the old day, if memory serves. Yeah, rule of thumb. How dare they? Take your current salary and multiply it by 10. Keep in mind that's just a jumping off point. There are many other factors you'll need to consider. Right? She offers the following example. If you earn $80,000 a year, the formula states you'll need to have access to 800,000 schmackers to retire at 55, which means you'll need to have enough saved for 20 years or more. Using the formula, that means you'll be living on $40,000 a year, or half the salary you're accustomed to. That makes sense, actually. I completely get that. So if you're making $80,000 a year, and we take out 7.65 to FICA, let's say an effective income tax rate, let's say 12%. So that's going to be another 20%. So 80,000 minus 20% puts us at 64. Another 8,000 for 401k contributions. That puts us at 56. Yeah, I get that. So that's, you're working. You're not going to have to drive. Not going to have to do all this crap with your clothes. You can wear the same clothes like I am that I wore yesterday. I did change my underwear, just FYI. So that makes sense, dude. Might have to cut back a little bit on your expenditures. It's easy to spend when you got the money coming in, man. When it's coming in, you're like, yeah, I can spend it. I'll spend to the level of my income. Once the income stops, it's amazing how quickly you'll cut back. Trust me, I've seen people do it all the time. Let's see. For some people, this would not be enough, $40,000 when they're used to making 80. But remember, you're not making 80. You're bringing home 56,000. So you're actually living off 56. She retired to a place where the cost of living is lower. My suggestion would be to use a formula as a baseline.
Get ready for the best St. Patrick's Day of your life.
Whoa, that was creepy. St. Patrick's Day always came and went there, guy. We want to make retirement last or even sooner. There are ways to do it, but it means putting a lot of effort. And she suggests looking to the FIRE approach. The basic approach is to cut expenses drastically and live off 25 to 50% of your income. 100%. I completely agree with that scenario. With the extra money you have, you can invest it into mutual funds. Others try to accomplish early retirement by creating a successful side business. Some approach side hustling with a goal of generating passive income. You could do a rental property. Was that Etsy or whatever it's called, Etsy? Maybe you're crocheting, hitting the ball through the pins. It's not whatever, crochet and croquet. The two things, they sound the same to me. It's a Q instead of a CH. Croquet and crochet. Come on, we got to come up with a different name for one of these things. Hey, why you got to make it so difficult, man? However, even if you don't hit a magic number, there are still ways you can achieve the retirement feeling without giving up work altogether. Her methods may be particularly helpful for those wanting to travel more now rather than waiting. Yep. But then they take this thing, if you live in the U.S., consider going to a Treasury I bond. Okay, and what does that have to do with her methods may be particularly helpful? By going to an I bond and put $10,000 in there? So now we're talking all about investments. You might be interested in alternative investment, including wine or equity crowdfunding. Yeah, that's weird. Most folks wish to retire early because they want financial freedom. They want to take a year to travel, explore an artistic outlet, devote their time to philanthropy. All these experiences can be done without retiring in the traditional sense. My advice has remained the same over the last decade, but is especially relevant now. Practice an abundance mindset. It'll be tempting to pitch pennies or make financial decisions from a place of fear, but that approach won't afford you a life of travel and leisure. Instead of focusing on how to save $1 here or to create $10 there, okay, I got no problem. That wasn't as... I quit my job to travel for a year. Here's how I did. Ooh, that sounds pretty good. These Delta pilots are all have been married for 10 years. Here are their secrets to traveling as a couple. Okay. The 10 best states to retire, according to experts. 10 best places to live on the East Coast. Ooh, lots of good stuff here. So what do you think they're doing in the cockpit when they lock the doors in the cockpit? Are they smooching, those guys? Smooching and getting jiggy with it when they're supposed to be flying the plane? Just wondering. All right. That's okay. That's good advice. I got no qualm with that lady's thought process. It is really just a matter of expenditures, man. You got to get the expenditures under control, or at least understood what your expenditures are. I just dealing with a lady today. Her 6, she just turned 59, and she wants to retire next year. And she's like, "Can I make it happen?" I said, "What do you spend?" Her husband drives a 2008 Toyota Tacoma. She drives, another vehicle that's older. They don't have much miles. It's the same freaking story, dude. Same. They just don't spend that much. They're frugal. It's just I was running the numbers like, look, the downside risk is your enemy. Not capturing upside isn't the enemy. It's the downside. Oh man, I wish I could be like Moses on the hill and say, "Hear he, hear he." The downside risk is your enemy for soon to be near retirees or recently retirees. I'm just telling you, man. We ran the numbers, and it's like her probability of success jumped up quite a bit when we reduced the downside risk, even though we reduced the average rate of return. Because the downside risk is where it falls, kapunk, 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 you're done. All right, so we went from like 5.7 in an 80-20, something like that portfolio with something like a 15% standard deviation to a 4.2 with I think a 4.5 to 5 standard deviation. Everything went from, I think it was like 81 to 94, so I can't remember. Yeah, she left less money to the kiddos at her death because she didn't get as much on the upside, but her probability of success went up. I said, you just got to protect against the downside. It's just all there is to it. Once you're comfortable in retirement a couple of years, man, you can always go back in the markets, but man, that downside is the kiss of death for retirees. All right, love your thoughts. We'll see you.